Treatment by Walter C. Lanyon. Written in 1921 at Carthage, Missouri. To FCS, whose positive stand for truth is ever an inspiration to me. Chapter 1. Treatment. So many inquiries have come in to me regarding treatment, and what it is, and what it means, that I have decided to give, to the best of my ability, just what a treatment is. I do not in any way believe in formula, nor the mere repetition of statements or groups of statements, however. We all realize that there must be some tangible approach and explanation which will at least divest it of mystery. The keynote of truth is simplicity. This is the hardest point to accept. It seems that in our every effort to grasp the truth, we stumble over the thing we want and grab at nothing. Treatment is the name we give to a practical application of prayer, whereby we become conscious of our God-given rights. If you can think of God in the right way, you can produce the results called healing. For healing is merely bringing into consciousness God and what He stands for. Some of us are fearful. We are afraid to try. For fear we have not the particular something, which is often used as a blind in the work. Just remember this, that you can do the work, that you can get results, if you will follow the few simple rules set down by the way shower. The two greatest aids in the field of accomplishment are denial and affirmation. They go hand in hand and are the implements whereby man thins the mist which has obscured our birthright from us so long. Not long ago, a letter came to me, which contained a number of these denials and affirmations, which I have elaborated upon and made plainer with the aid of the Bible, and which I am giving here first, as an idea of what a general treatment is. Before going further, however, I must say that the use of these treatments, daily for a week, accomplished by the right understanding and meditation, has made in the lives of many a complete change, both in thought and in body. I wish that everyone who reads this little book would try it for a week, and see if at the end of that time they were not more spiritual and clearer and freer from the little trivial cares of the daily life. To begin the work, we shall become quiet and think of God and heaven, which must of course be perfect. We cannot think of God any other way, and since He dwells in heaven, it too must be perfect, and since heaven is everywhere, then we are right now in the midst of perfection, living with a God who knows nothing but perfection. And so we begin. There is no material man. Man is spiritual and eternal. He is the image and likeness of God. Let us make man in our likeness. There is no mortal mind. God is the only mind, and He is spiritual and infinite, and He governs man. There is no fear. Perfect love casteth out fear. There is nothing to fear in a perfect world. Man is fearless. There are no evil belief. Wisdom and knowledge are of God and cannot be evil or imperfect. There are no false medical beliefs. God, being mind and infinite, is the only thinker. What God is not conscious of, man cannot suffer from. There are no passions and appetites. Man is sustained by God, the parent mind, and is supplied with and satisfied by purity of thought. There is no sickness. Man, made in the image and likeness of God, cannot fall from his high estate. He is conscious of God only, and the things which are God's. If God knows not sickness, there is no such a thing, for He knows all that He made and called it good. There is no hatred. You are clothed in love, for God is love and is infinite. Hatred is simply the absence of love, And since love is everywhere, there is no place where it is absent. There is no revenge. The divine law of justice holds steadfastly to the line, and man must sooner or later measure up to it. The law is an iron rod when we disobey or fall short of it, and in our ignorance we think it makes us suffer. In reality, we are causing ourselves to suffer by not living up to it. Vengeance is mine, I shall repay. There is no hypnotic influence. Man is tributary to God and is influenced by God alone. He is as the needle of a compass, turning always to the north. God attracts, guides, instructs, and governs man. There is no malicious animal magnetism, for God is not an animal. Neither is he malicious. Hence there is no source from which such a thing could derive its power. Nothing can harm you unless you take it unto yourself and give it power. There is no criticism. Man, being the son of a loving father, knows nothing but love. Remember, the other fellow must see for himself, and since you do not stand at exactly the same level, you cannot see as he does. Perhaps you can look over the top of the fence and see the vast world without, while he is gazing through a knothole the size of a penny. All is perfection. All is perfection. All is perfection. There is no condemnation, either personally or impersonally. Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. Keep your mind free from the unpleasant duty of condemning either your own or somebody else's body or affairs. God has relieved you of this. There are no mistakes when man is meditating on God, for the only action is good and perfect and cannot be misused. There is nothing to worry about. God directs, governs, guides, and controls the universe. Don't worry. All will be well when left with him. There is no lack. Man is the consciousness of God and is conscious of infinite substance. To become conscious of a thing is to possess it. Hold steadfastly to that which is good and right, and it will be manifested in your affairs and life. There is no depression. There is nothing but joy and gladness. The sons of God shout for joy. Relax, let go, give up the dark ideas of mortal depression, and put on joy. There can be no delays. In the perfect world, the kingdom of heaven, where God reigns, there can be no delays, for God is all action. Man is never nervous. There is nothing but poise and the wonderful sense of peace. Man is the consciousness of God. He is conscious of only what God is. God is love. Therefore, man must be loving. God is truth. Therefore, man must be truthful. God is perfect. Man, the image and likeness, is perfection. God is peace. Man is peaceful and poised. God is power. Man is powerful and strong. God is courage. There is no fear. Man has perfect confidence. There is no going backward. Truth is pressing forward eternally. We cannot stand still. We are constantly advancing. We are growing. Divest your mind of the thought that God cannot do his work or will not. Before they call, I will answer them. What we need is more faith. When we declare God's allness, then do not doubt the ability of God. God will do his part whenever man has the faith to trust him. What we need is the faith that says, only speak the word. After you have made your affirmations and denials, then stand fast. Do not plant a seed 1 minute and rush out the next. Dig it up to see if it has sprouted. The best seed in the world could not stand such treatment. When a seed is dropped into the ground, leave it there and go about your business. Presently, you will see the results of your faith. Treatments are like seeds. They are planted in our mind, and some of them have mushroom growth and appear at once, while others take days and weeks to even stir. Be not discouraged. When the treatment is given, when the seed is planted, have faith that God will do the rest. The reverse of the lie is the truth. The serpent of material sense can be made a rod to lean upon, if we take it up, handle it, and are not afraid of it. There is nothing God cannot do, and when you realize that you are the consciousness of God, it should open your eyes to a new and wonderful truth. That is, the possibility of attaining that which you desire. Chapter 2. Impersonal Treatment. Perhaps nothing is more confusing than the line which divides the impersonal from the personal treatment. How can we handle it? In the first place, we are gradually beginning to realize that if we expect to arrive at the destination, perfection, that we have set for us, we must begin with self. But how can we say, there is no sickness, when just across the way lies a man sick unto death? How can we say, there is no lack, when at the end of the village street is the almshouse full of testimony? If you declare, there is no sickness for yourself, and expect to see it manifested on your body in perfect health, you certainly cannot at the same time see sickness as a reality in another. For what is true of John Smith is true of you, as long as you are conscious of it. Here is where the impersonal work comes in, and when we look about us and take a check on the fact that we have been so long doing personal work for ourselves and at the same time seeing all sorts of conditions for our brothers, it makes us feel that the impersonal work is almost more important than the personal, since we see so many more cases of various things put before us all the time than we actually experience. How can I treat a man against his will? That is not right, is it? Certainly not. But the point is just this: you do not treat the man. You are simply treating yourself, or clearing your own consciousness of the error. And if you are clear enough, it many times results in a healing for the other fellow. There is nothing difficult in doing this, and there is something immensely helpful and beneficial in its practice. It begins to make the kingdom come close at hand. Let us begin at the center and work outward. You realize that the kingdom of heaven stretches in all directions from you, just as far as your consciousness is able to grasp. Now then, you stand in the center or hub of your universe, and your universe or heaven is perfect. All right, good so far. Immediately a sick man crosses through your kingdom. You see him with your eyes. What are you going to do? You are going to know that nothing which defileth or maketh a lie can possibly exist in your kingdom. Therefore, no sick man can pass through it, because it is the realm of perfection. No poor man can live there, for it is the realm of abundance. No blind man can stay there, for it is the kingdom of light, and so on through the whole category of ills. You correct them as fast as they are presented to you. For you are the hub of your kingdom, and nothing but perfection can enter there. Sometimes the realization of heaven and its perfection has healed the sick man and helped the poor man, and certainly it always strengthens the hub of the kingdom. For every time you turn in thought to God, you are made just that much stronger, and the sum total of error just that much weaker. In your home too, if you realize the truth in this way, you will soon see that no plague shall come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. It may seem a trifle selfish to mention again the greatest personal benefit accruing from this impersonal work, but it is surprising how wonderful it is, and how it sweetens life, to start each morning with perfection, and through the day to keep correcting the errors that are presented to you by others. At first it becomes almost like a game. You are happy in finding the proper denial and affirmation. You rejoice in sharpening the two-edged sword of affirmation and denial, and making it cut to the line with one bow. You eliminate unnecessary arguments and get down to bedrock. You easily realize the importance of following your denial with affirmation. You could say to the child 2 times 2 isn't 5, but unless you give an affirmation as to what it is, the child has not benefited from the denial. It is true that the error has been wiped out, but nothing has been left in its place. If you deny a thing, you must fill that place, which is made by the denial with an affirmation of the truth. To say, "I am not sick," and let it go at that, leaves the ground unproven and unprotected. To do your impersonal work in this fashion is also futile. If you deny the existence of sin or sickness in your kingdom and do not affirm the true condition, you have accomplished very little. Chapter 3. God is life. What is God? Whatever God is to you, that is precisely what your own personal individual life is. Suppose we say God is poise, then your life, not somebody else's, is poised. The very action that you see manifested in you is God, and you can call out any particular attribute you wish to. Suppose you wish to manifest happiness. You think of God as happiness. Your life becomes happy for your life, and God are the same thing. Then your body or temple becomes joyous, happy. We will stop here and think a while, beginning again with, God is the only life of man. We find that life is changeless, for God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Going back a little, we find that the perfection of God or life, our lives, which created things in perfection and called them good, is still the same, that is, changeless. This is also a strong point. You hark back to the perfection of God, your life, and find that at its most perfect moment, it was changeless and ever remains the same. Then you have eliminated the thought of change, or the action or erroneous thought, whether this be a material growth or decay. Anything that is changing is not of God, is not the reality of anything, never did exist, never did have power, cannot operate because the only power there is changeless and perfect. We will think about this for a while. We now come to the body. Destroy the temple body, and I, mind, shall raise it up. The Lord in the midst of thee is strong and mighty. Ask yourself where the midst of you is. Is it outside or inside? The Lord is in his holy temple, body. Let all the earth rejoice. Let the material body rejoice. We shall now feel the very presence of God in the midst of us. We shall now experience a holiness, a calm, holy silence that is full of healing, while the Lord is restoring the temple. Just let us relax and think about this. The Lord is in the midst of me. We shall think about this for a while. We come now to the question, who am I? We take Jesus' word, destroy the temple body, and I, mind, or God, shall raise it up. Get the idea of who Jesus said he was. You have the same power or mind. You, your very self. You are the thing that has the power, and you are the one that directs all action. You are individual like the islands are individual, yet joined to the mainland below the surface, or out of sight of the material vision. You are the consciousness of God. Without man, God would be a nonentity. Think about this for a while. Without you, the expression, or to give the meaning of the word expression, pressed out idea, God would be unexpressed. Do you see that it would be impossible to express or press out anything that God was not conscious of? You are mind, according to Jesus, our way shower. You are a consciousness of it, a pressed out idea of it. Then, what is it that is the image and likeness? Reflection. You say immediately, it is man. You are right. Man is the image and likeness of mind. When you think sick thoughts, your body is sick and vice versa. What you think is what you are. As a man thinketh, so is he. Please try to get the idea that Jesus did. You are not identified with the body, but with Christ. I and my Father are one did not mean that the material Jesus and God were one, for God could not be man and man could not be God. Then it stands to reason that man is simply the expression of the divine I that we are. Now do you get the idea that you are the I which does with the body, very much the same as an artist does with a canvas? You hold the body inert, a practice ground where you press out and trace upon it thoughts. When you get this, you will not consult the body. You will be in authority. The divine I that you are simply controls the body, which remains silent and uncomplaining, a wonderful and beautiful servant to do your bidding. Thoughts are things the mind that puts the puzzle together can also disseminate it and destroy the ugly picture. The thought that is building up ugly and sick designs in you can with one word of authority destroy them. We shall give thanks and feel very holy, for it is the presence of God that heals us. We are in His presence, and His presence is in us, and it is perfectly holy and grand, and the sweet, tender wings of His love are enfolding us, soothing us, and when we awake, we are free. It is altogether grand, altogether holy, to be able to kneel mentally at His feet and hear Him say, I will be thou whole. Chapter 4. Fear Treatment. In the beginning, we shall try to get a better idea of the nearness of God. He is in the midst of us, that we live and move and breathe and have our being in Him. It is like the very inelegant illustration of a balloon or a bubble, being full of air, yet in the air, surrounding the air, yet containing air, an individualized thing, a distinct manifestation. There is nothing but God, and this God becomes conscious of Himself in the various manifestations. It is as a smooth surface of water with no movement. Suddenly a bubble appears, an expression of the whole body of water. Let bubble represent man, the pressed out or expression of God. Immediately you conceive of the possibility of a very nearness with God. You relax and quietly affirm, I and my Father are one. You are one with the greatest and only power in the universe. You mentally put your hand, your belief and power, in His. You merge your power or thought in His, and then you know all things are possible to God, and you His consciousness. We must do this very reverently, with an increasing holiness, and we must relax and feel God Himself as life passing through every part of our consciousness. When we begin to get this idea of the God presence, then we add to this the God power. Just think of it. The very life that is coursing through you is God, and it knows no opponent. There is nothing to fear, for God is all there is, and you are conscious of this. Now that you are one with Him, you realize that you are the Son of God. And here is where the individualization of power comes in. Whom the Son makes free is free indeed. You, the Son, having made your connection with the Father within, are now able to free the expression, pressed out idea body. You can go about doing your Father's business, which is to purge the temple, body of evil thoughts, of sick thoughts, of fear thoughts, and of the universal thought, which is the merchant selling doves. It seems such a beautiful and harmless thing to make due consideration for the dove merchant, which after all is but current opinion, letting loose in the temple his ideas and conditions. When the temple is purged, when you are free mentally, then the healing currents rush in, or rather I should say rush out. The fountain of health, which has been sealed, is suddenly opened, and it comes gushing out, carrying all debris of mortal thinking with it. Let life and health gush through you with such a vigor that nothing can stop. Suddenly you realize that the sun has rolled the stone away from the tomb, which seemed to contain life, and you find the life that is indestructible, and the life which has broken all fear and all public opinion. You still live in the body, in the sense that Jesus did when he showed it to Thomas, but you are as free from it as you were when he said, "Touch me not." You shall not be touched again by the mortal, current opinion of life and health. Realizing that God is everywhere, and the only power you realize that breeze, drought, wind on any other element could do no more to make you unhappy or inharmonious than it could to clog the screen which it passes through. Life is infinite. We use it freely. It is not something individual. The wind which passes in the east end of the house may pass on through many rooms, and at last go out the west end, yet is the same wind, has filled many rooms and is still going on. This is the same with life. There is nothing that can happen to it. You cannot have a sick life without having a sick God. You cannot have inharmonious life, for life is health. Health is not so much an attribute of life as it is life. You have life, analyze this. Get at it and make some of the things it stands for come out in your daily living. If wind passes through a room which is smoky, it clears the atmosphere, but in doing so, it is only momentarily distributed. In an instant, the smoky condition has passed, and the place thereof is filled with fine, clear air. Do you get the idea of life being universal and being constantly poured out to us? This is the secret of keeping away from age. Age cannot record on life, and life is all there is to you. There is nothing that God cannot do, and whom you realize that this power is right within you. When you realize that it is closer than hands or feet, when you realize that you are the consciousness of this power, then you realize that in order to have perfect health, you must become conscious of health. You must get the consciousness of health, and once you have this consciousness, you have perfect health. You are conscious of having a home. You go home without a thought that it might not be there. You don't trouble to look up a real estate agent every time you want to go home. No, you are conscious of home, and you go there when you wish. This is the same consciousness we want of health. We want to become conscious of health until it becomes a part of us. Then nothing can enter or in any way establish itself unless we allow it to reverse the lie every time it comes to you. Whether personally or through some other person or animal, refuse to see anything in another that you do not wish to see manifested on your own body. It is only a question of time until every evil condition in the world will be met, and it is all going to be done by reversal. Every time you reverse the lie, it becomes that much weaker, though to appearances, it does not show that you have done a thing. The sum total of error is weakened, and you do not know, but the very next time you reverse the lie, that it will not finish it. Relax, forget, forgive, and call down a blessing on everyone. Judge not from appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Just refuse to pass judgment from the arguments of mortal mind, but rather judge from the spiritual insight, which is yours. Judge yourself already perfect and free from disease or fear. Relax, relax, forgive, forget, and glorify God, for He is wonderful. Chapter 5, Rehearsing. The reverse of error is the truth. The moment we begin this reversal, it is as if we were turned about in our course and started in the right direction. At first, this does not seem like a very big statement, but just think about it for a moment. No matter how large your problem is, no matter what it is, the minute you reverse the lie, you are turned in the right direction, and the demonstration is only a question of persistence. The very minute you reverse the lie, you are turned in the right direction. Just ponder that a moment. Think what it would mean if you were lost in a dense forest and someone would say to you, "Do so, and you will be turned in the right direction." Would not a great sense of joy, well up in your heart to know that you were at least turned in the right direction? And would this not speed your progress in getting to your destination? The minute you were turned in the right direction, the only thing you would have in your mind would be your destination. You would keep the goal ever before you and would not count the footsteps leading up to it. This is the way we attain health. First, we reverse the lie of sickness. Good. We are now pointed in the right direction. We want to keep the goal, perfect health, before us and not think of the steps leading up to it. If you were to go to California, you would not stop off at every little station and examine it and wonder about it and complain about it. You would keep California ever before you and would pass through endless towns of which you took no note. So is it with demonstration. Having set out for the destination, it remains for us to disregard the little stages and steps and keep our eyes fixed on the goal. You want perfect health. That is what you have as a goal. You must see it. You must feel it. You must experience it. And finally, you must have a consciousness of it. For that is the only way we can have anything. We must at first have a consciousness of it. You must hold before mind the perfect model and become so conscious of it that it is suddenly made present in you. You are transformed by the renewing of your mind. When your mind becomes conscious of health and not the steps leading up to it, you suddenly have perfect health, a health that nothing can take from you. Sometimes we instantly arrive at demonstration, as Jesus did when he got in a ship and was immediately at land. He turned in the right direction, held it as a consciousness, and was immediately there, without any note of the steps leading up to it. We can do this if we look intently enough at the goal. If we can picture perfect health on our bodies and live it, and feel it, and recognize it. Do not be afraid to attempt big things in the demonstration of science. We have only commenced to use our power. If we speak with authority and actually have the consciousness of authority, then nothing can keep the fruition from us. Go, and he goeth. Come, and he cometh. Dismiss your diseased thoughts, command them to go, and let come the consciousness of health. Drummond says, if we want to be a good musician, we must practice music. And if we want to be a good Christian, we must practice the Christ. This practicing the Christ is simply experiencing the joy of real living. It is taking some of the authority which is ours and putting it into everyday use. Remember that what we see for others, we see for ourselves. That what we imagine, others can experience. We too can and will experience. So for this reason, we must do our impersonal work for everything that comes to us with a claim, for it is merely the claim presenting itself for our acceptance, whether it be seen on your body or on the body of another. Do you see that it is shown to your mind and asking to be acknowledged as something real? This is not a laborious work, nor yet tiresome. It is merely putting out of mind or denying those things which are not true. Of course, you may not be able to heal a crippled man who passed you by, knowing there are no accidents in truth, and that man is perfect, but you cannot tell. One morning you may do that very thing, and besides, you help yourself tremendously. Every time you reverse the lie, it becomes just that much weaker as far as you are concerned. This is worthwhile pondering. Do not let these truths go until they bless you. Make them your very own. Realize that you can make all the progress in the world when you are once turned in the right direction, and that, once you start, nothing can keep you. You do not know which straw breaks the camel's back, the first or the last, and I think it is generally accepted that it takes them both, and all those which go between us with treatment. Every straw that is placed on the problem makes its end just that much more inevitable. Rejoice and give thanks. Even your enemies shall bless you. The very condition which seemed to bind you has forced you to turn to God, and so in reality, it was not bad. There is nothing bad in the universe, for everything works together, for the good of those who love the Lord. You shall praise your body, for it is wonderfully and fearfully made. It is a good servant, and is worthy of protection and care. You shall outline upon it beautiful images and thoughts, and you shall say to it, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. In times past, we have accused the body of all sorts of things. We say, You are sick, you are weak, you cannot go, and we have forgiven all our enemies, and have been very loving to the world in general. But the poor body remains under the constant ban of dislike. Now I believe we should love all things, and we should not forget to love our bodies, not in the sense of making them anything real, but in the sense that they are an expression of this stage of growth, and seem very necessary at this time to give an embodiment to our life. Chapter 6. A Letter That Healed. My dear, your letter came yesterday. Note the conditions which seem to be making themselves real to you. Letty is just a thickening of the mist which watered the whole ground, material body, and this mist thins as we cling, steadfast to truth. That is all demonstration is. It is simply the process of prayer, which thins the mist of material living and action, and gives us a glimpse of the real spiritual life. There has no one who has seen my face and lived. There is no one who has so completely thinned the mist by prayer that they could look upon the truth absolutely. We all view it through the mist. Some of us can see it plainer than others, because the mist is thinner. Some are far from it, and cannot understand it, do not recognize the truth only as brought out in a moral of some fable or story. Others approach nearer the border and get views and have understanding. Now this is what we want. We want understanding. It was what Solomon wanted, because he knew that with understanding, he could attain anything he wanted, that he would have the key to any and all situations. And that is what we want. Half of our work is not positive, and the other half is full of doubt. Do you realize that when you declare your oneness with God, that the work done then is the work of the Father, and not you? Do you do your work and then wonder if God can do his work? Do you think I will treat myself or somebody and cling to the idea of anything personal in the matter? If you do, then you have doubt, and your word shall return to you with the results of doubt. God is the only thinker, and likewise, the only doer. You are one with him. It is as though you connect up with a great feed wire, which supplies a city with light and power. You can use all you want. There is nothing personal about it. We must get this positive thought about demonstration. Do you suppose that you could actually get in touch, to a material sense with God, and ask him anything, that he would refuse it? No. You think if you could only get his ears, not realizing that when you know you and the Father are one, you ally yourself with the only power, and what is done then is the action of God, not man. Do you doubt God's ability to heal you? Letting go entirely of the body, you enter into the closet, and there declare your oneness with God. Having done this, then it is the Father within who doeth the works, and whatever is done after this is in reality done, and cannot be undone, and you do not want to undo it. Look to your objective, perfect health, cling steadfastly to it. Outline upon your body beautiful thoughts and images, and you will see these manifested. If you were to draw a square, you would hold the image of a square in your mind, and not just lines or a circle. So with us, we must hold the perfect concept in mind, and when we get a consciousness of it, it will be ours, and be manifested in our affairs and body. All things work together for the good of them who love the Lord. Everything is blessed, and should be handled so, Even your problem is turning you to truth more and more, and is in reality only progress. You are growing, and the material senses try to make you fearful of the conditions and changes which are coming to you through progress. Fear not, I am with thee. What is it that is with you? God is not far off. He is right at hand, and before they call, I will answer them. Relax, let go, and feel the presence of God, searching the joints and marrow. Your temple or body is being rebuilt by truth. It is being cleansed and purified, and made new, and made a fit dwelling place for God. Do you think of yesterday? Well, don't do it. You are like the screen, like the window pane, the air and light which passed through yesterday, move on clear around the globe. If you had a sense of sick life yesterday, today you have no use for that. Life is God. Remember, this life is God. There is nothing but the eternal nowness which is perfect. You use life freely, gloriously, joyously, and feel its expression as vibrant health and strength and power. Remember, do not doubt the power of God. When a treatment is given, it is done. If you believe in the power of God at all, that settles it. It is done. The results must follow. The end. Listen to this recording again until you gain a clear understanding. If you want to level up your manifestation skills, smash the like and subscribe button. May you be blessed.